impossible. Ripple. Earth date 2893. 1. "There is an intruder, sir," Jeeves announced, breaking the silence. Sigmund Ausfowler sighed. Age had not so much mellowed as exhausted him. The universe was out to get him, and so what? It had been years since he had mustered the energy to care. Maybe it had been years since he had cared that he no longer cared. "Sir?" Shading his eyes with an upraised hand, Sigmund peered across the desert. The day's final string of suns was low to the horizon. Here and there, scattered across barren landscape, cacti cast long shadows. A lone bird glided overhead. Beyond the limits of his stone patio, civilization had left no visible mark. A cluster of cacti reminded him of other columns, long ago, far away. Columns of a world-shattering machine. And they had shattered a world, although by the time it had happened, he had been dead. That happened to him far too often, the getting dead part. Peril to entire worlds, too, but— "You should withdraw to safety, sir," Jeeves prompted. Sigmund sighed again, this time at himself. Age made one's mind wander. So did living by oneself. Not that with Jeeves around, he was truly alone. To be old and alone— "Sir," Jeeves insisted. Sigmund struggled out of his big mesh hammock to stand. "Describe the intruder." "An anti-grav flitter. It's on approach from the east, at just within the low-altitude speed limit."
"Visual sighting?"
"Too distant at present. Radar, sir."
"How long until it arrives?"
10 minutes, sir, if the craft maintains its current velocity." Sigmund glanced at the dark circle inset in a corner of his patio. The circle was the bottom of a stepping disc. Apart from its active side being obstructed, and so rendered inert, the device was like millions across the world. Flipped light-colored side up, and in one pace he could teleport at light speed to any disk of his choosing, almost anywhere on the planet. But were he to invert the disk, then others, if they had the authority to preempt his privacy settings, could teleport here. Sigmund valued his privacy, and his stepping disk stayed upside down. And to be honest, his disk was not exactly like the millions of others. The microfusion reactor on this disk would overload seconds after he stepped out, destroying all record of his destination. He really valued his privacy. "Sir?" Sigmund considered.
"They're not stealthed. They're approaching from the east, easy to spot, not flying out of the setting suns. They want us to know they're coming."
Sigmund gestured at his modest home, in which, on the oaken desk he had crafted by hand, his pocket comp sat powered down.
"It's not as though they can call ahead."
"Very good, sir," Jeeves said, in his gentleman's gentleman tone of voice, acknowledgment and mild reproach together. Jeeves was more ancient even than Sigmund. The butler mannerisms that had once been a few lines of code, an affectation or a jape on someone's part, had, over the centuries, permeated every facet of the AI's persona, kind of like paranoia in Sigmund's brain. Friends don't reprogram friends, even when they're able. Sigmund dropped back with a grunt into his hammock.
"Let's find out what our visitor wants."
The flitter morphed from invisible to droning speck to, all of a sudden, here. Sigmund stood watching as the craft swooped in for a landing on the windswept sands. The canopy pivoted upward from its aft edge. A woman, dressed in the trim blue uniform of the New Terran Defense Forces, stepped out of the cockpit. "Good evening, Minister," his granddaughter called. Minister, an official visit, as though her uniform would not have told Sigmund that.
"It's hot,"
Sigmund said.
"Join me in the shade, Captain."
"Thank you, sir." Julia looked around before joining Sigmund under the awning that overhung half the patio. She was a tall, lithe, beautiful woman with pale blue eyes and shoulder-length ash-blonde hair.
"Sit, Captain. Can I get you something to drink?"
"No, thank you, sir." His visitor stood, ill at ease, uniform cap clutched under an arm. Her name tag read Byerly Mancini. Sun's light reflecting off the name tag rendered a shimmering hologram, detailed beyond the capability of badge-sized photonics to mimic. So, too, did her rank insignia.